call the HR committee to order. Do we have any citizens communication? No. Okay, no citizens communication. I think we're going to continue the reading of the minutes to the next HR committee. And then our first resolution is a resolution approving a full-time coordinator for the Williamson County Mental Health Court.
Move for approval. Second.
And who is here to speak on that?
I'm here. Tracy McKinney. I know most of you all know me from Veterans Treatment Court, but Judge Taylor is over the Mental Health Court and the Veterans Treatment Court, and I'm assisting him with this. This is a full-time coordinator position. We used to have a coordinator through a treatment agency, and that treatment agency is dissolving, and so now we need to hire a full-time coordinator. It will be paid for through the grant through the state. There's no in-kind expense through the county, and it will be a full-time position.
Does anyone have any questions? I guess I have a question. Since this is a grant, if the grant goes away, the position goes away, how hard a time are you going to have somebody to fill this position?
Well, my position is a full-time grant position as well. A lot of times when it comes to the coordinator positions, they know that those positions are grant operated. This is through the state, so it's a guaranteed grant that they get every year. Unlike the federal grants that can come and go or be taken, the state grants through the Department of Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services, those are steady grants and they're pretty much guaranteed every year.
Okay. Any other questions? Any question?
No,
Commissioner
no.
Taylor?
I just don't know what they do, but that's okay.
I can give you that information. I'm a coordinator for the Veterans Treatment Court. So coordinator position is we wear multiple hats. We are responsible for the grants and the reports.
I'm sorry, just gotta get the door.
Oh, no problem. We are responsible for coordinating with the interdisciplinary team for the court. So we meet with the people that come into the courts. We meet with the attorneys, the judges, the treatment, the staff. We coordinate the grants for the actual treatment courts. We work in unison with any kind of law enforcement or agencies that are out there that are working with our participants. We turn in the reports for the grants. We utilize the grants in any way that we can to help our participants. We find the grants for the programs and we report back to the judge on a weekly basis.
Other than
Among
that, you
other
don't have a whole lot
things.
to do, right? Okay.
Among other things.
No, that's, okay, that's good. So basically, you coordinate all you facilitate the process.
Yes, sir.
for them. Okay, very good, thank you.
Is everybody ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody against? Passes 4-0.
Thank you so much.
And Claire,
Thank you so much.
you have a presentation, Claire.
I do. Thank you, Chairman, and the committee. I'm excited to be here tonight to talk about our vacation accruals. Been on board now with the county for 3.5 years now, and it's not something that you want to come out of the gate as a new HR director and address vacation accruals, but I've had time to listen and assess beyond my own personal reflection, but also to share with you from a professional standpoint and looking at the market. Where does Williamson County stand? You know, we just went through the 75th percentile to be more attractive. We were paying at the 50th percentile, which means 50% more employers pay more than us and 50% pay less. So, you know, we were right there in the middle of the market. So it was a great opportunity for us to see our pay to be evaluated. But I also think it's time for us to look at other things that are not always substantial to the budget, which comes to vacation. And so I've provided a packet for each of you to review how we mark up, how we rank, that is, against some of our competitors. So if you want to get into the detail later on and you can study through this, my staff member and I, Lisa Nalaka, who is new on board, put together some of this research. And you can see from the spreadsheet below, it gives a nice comparison of Williamson County to Williamson County School System to the City of Franklin, State of Tennessee, City of Murfreesboro, City of Spring Hill, City of Brentwood, Rutherford County, Murray County, and even Knox County. So Lisa was nice enough to put together a nice summary, and so I'm not going to take away from her work product. I think we both can contribute to the conversation tonight, but I'm going to let Lisa kind of walk you through how we compare just from an overview, which she's done a great summary, as you can see from the first sheet of your packet. Lisa?
Sure. It's all right here in the table. It's proposed leave accrual updates to ensure continued alignment with the Commission's adopted 75th percentile compensation philosophy. It simplifies our 5-tier vacation structure into 4 clearly defined tiers. It adds limited flexibility for new employees within controlled parameters, and it applies proactively under existing caps. It's an alignment measure. It's not really a market expansion. The other thing that you would see, so if you look, you'll see there's an addition of 2 personal days that would be credited after an introductory period or probation period. There would be no carryover of that extra time. There would be no payout of that time. You'd say use it or lose it, extra 2 days. We noticed that it provides a little early flexibility as we've got new employees coming on and they're trying to, get settled into the organization, gives them some leave if needed. Then we modify vacation at the early accrual. Employees that are in their 1 to 5 years, 0 to 5 years, we try to increase so we're a little bit more competitive on the recruitment. And when you look at the middle of the recruitment, that's where the biggest portion of the vacation increase, because those are the people that we want to continue to retain, because they've got the institutional memory, and we want to make sure that we retain these people and that they have flexible time off. And then it just adjusts up until the 15-year mark. Then the only other change that we're proposing as part of this is the bereavement eligibility to kind of adapt to more of a modern family structure. It's just adding stepchild, step-parents, and like grandparents-in-law to that policy as well. We've received feedback that that's something that's needed.
So I'd like to add to, the first thing that comes to mind is to cost. And we're not producing a product. We're not running an assembly line or manufacturing facility. All of our overtime is locked down to the budget. Many departments do not have the ability to, they don't even have overtime in their budget. So speaking with some of the departments that do have an overtime budget, this still would be subject, and I want to say that very slowly, this still would be subject to departmental head approval based on the operational needs. And in the event that someone has, more vacation than what operationally you can approve, it just simply rolls over in to the following year. It carries over. I've spoken with all the department heads, especially our large department heads. In a moment, I'd like to invite Christy Borden, our telecommunicator director for 911, to come up and talk about the attractiveness or their lack of right now of our vacation. Right now, you have to work an entire first month. So most people start in the middle of the month. So you start in the middle of the month or the second day, you have to complete an entire full 30 days before you start accruing. Our accrual rate for the first 5 years is 6.66. It's very hard for our employees to take a vacation that first year, much less the second year. It's a contributing factor to, I think, work-life balance, to attendance, and to retention. Most employees that come to us from other employers, one of the number one complaints is that the vacation is not attractive. They're receiving usually 3 weeks of vacation and personal days. And so, even our school system has 2 personal days. So I think this gets us aligned more at being attractive and also helping with recruitment and also helping with retention. And it modernizes our vacation accruals, which have been untouched for decades. So with your permission, Chairman, would you allow Christy to say a few words, since she has one of the toughest departments to recruit for based on the type of position that it is, and also for retention. And we often lose to our competitors, not only sometimes on pay, which we've made good strides on, but we lose to our competitors based on there's more work-life balance and vacation for their family and their needs. Christy?
Thank you for letting me speak. I wasn't planning anything tonight, but I do want to give support to this for Claire, but it's also for us. We have been working with MCP, which is Mission Critical Partners, on doing an operational and salary study right now specific to our organization. And some of the beginning feedback that they've been giving us is we are one of the lowest departments that they've seen of taking the leave. And it's because we don't have it. We're really strategic in how we hire people too. And sometimes because when they come on, like Claire said, we've struggled with that where they're having to wait 2 months before they even get a day. One of the biggest things that they talk about in our line of work is making sure that you take time off. So right now we provide a 4-day-a-week schedule to try to help with that, but just having that additional time, and I love the personal time and adding that. We've had so many people come in and they have nothing for that first year. That they can't take a vacation and get away from that. They're having to learn for 6 to 8 months being at that console every day. So taking that time away is so important. And this really aligns us. We're really fighting with City of Murfreesboro, and that was one of the ones that I was looking at when I seen that. And I'm not surprised. I've lost some employees to City of Murfreesboro 911 because they have that extra time off. So I would encourage you to look at this and really think about it, because I think this would help not just my department, but across the board with retention and recruitment for employees.
Thank you.
Yes.
Claire, can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
How does it accrue? I mean, like you start. I started February 1st.
Mm-hmm.
When do you accrue so many days according to how much you worked? Or like after a month, you get 1 day, or do you get 3? How do y'all do that?
It is based on hours worked.
Okay.
And so as payroll collects those hours worked, you have to work a minimum of 120, I believe, for you to accrue. So if you are a person that's out on a leave, whether it's leave without pay because you haven't earned enough sick time, let's say you have a car accident right off the bat, or even if you've exhausted all your sick time and your vacation, that is, and you're out for an extended leave and you don't work at least a minimum of 120 hours, you're not going to accrue for that month. So it is a monthly accrual based on hours worked.
Okay, that's what it used to. Is this going to continue like that too?
Yes, that will. It just really addresses, Commissioner, the opportunity for us to provide the 2 personal days where people can take. Maybe they have a certain holiday they want to celebrate, but that's kind of commonplace that immediately upon hire you have 2 days that you can take, and those are either you use those or you lose those. Those don't roll. And what's important about that is that doesn't create a burden on our payroll department to try to track those. It doesn't go into the system. It's just there and it goes away. So the 2 personal days is really flexible. It really creates a lot of flexibility off, but everything is subject to supervisor approval. I couldn't use a personal day to substitute for a sick day. So if I call in sick, and I say I'm sick, you need to use your sick time. So it needs to be prearranged and pre-approved.
Okay. I have one more question.
Please.
Can they keep accruing these year after year and just adding them up? Does the county, have they ever thought about doing a buyout of vacation after so much time?
Well, it's interesting that you say that, because I have worked in other lives where, for example, I worked with a large healthcare company, and that was very, very popular, and I worked with a very large manufacturing facility as well, and they had buyout programs. I've mentioned that in conversations with the mayor and with our director of finance. I think there's support, but once again, we're dealing right now with the budget in hand. We don't come to the table with too much. The 75th percentile was a huge lift, and so this I think is for a good thing for us to focus on. But just speaking candidly, to create a buyout program, what it does is helps to take that money that's off the books that accrue. Because right now we don't accrue for for retirements. And then, of course, you don't know when just anybody might just leave, and so you have to pay that money out. Sometimes that's a challenge because a manager or director may have to leave that position open until their budget can catch back up because there's not surplus in there. Plus, there's an opportunity as you age, and say you're a 20-year employee and you're going to be retiring in the next 5 years, and you've got all this vacation, already accrued in your bank. You could go ahead and buy that out, and then it doesn't have as many tax implications later on when you retire. So you could start kind of slowing, it's like buying out. And so usually I've seen 1 or 2 buyouts per year, but you have to have a minimum in your bank. So let's say the 0 to 5 year employee would probably not be eligible because they wouldn't have enough in their bank for the buyout. And I'm not setting that as that would be it. We'd have to look at it, but definitely not under 5 or under 4 probably. So the buyout is really an advantage for your long-term employees, and it's a huge satisfier. I mean, employees where I've worked with large corporations love it. The finance side of the house loves it because it's off the books. Your taxes, the employee loves it from a tax standpoint. And so something that we are looking at, and if there's encouragement here, we can definitely look at it more seriously and put together a proposal. This is a proposal for you all to look at as the HR committee. I have support from the mayor, or I wouldn't be sitting here tonight. I've checked with some elected officials, but I can say on the record that I have Sheriff Hughes' support because he also has had that struggle where he's trying to recruit and they don't want to leave a county where they've got 3 weeks vacation or they've got personal days. They don't want to start back over, and then they're going to accrue 6.666 or 6.66 for this extended period of time. It takes them a long time, and that's where that work-life balance comes into play. Once again, there's no, in my opinion, and I shared this with Director Riley as well, there's no immediate cost to this because you're still going to control when you approve it. It's just going to give more days, more time for our newer employees. It really goes aggressive with the 0 to 4. And most plans are 0 to 5. I think going 0 to 4 makes us even more competitive. Because if you get an employee past the 5-year mark based on, and I can share this with Lisa, statistically, research, you can go out there. If you can get people to stay at least 5 years, and 5 years at our vesting period, they're going to stay. So we're trying to alleviate the turnover and the retention from that 0 to 4 group, because if you can get them to stay that long, and that helps us on the training dollars. Christy and I are looking at some training turnover, and Christy, I'm putting you on the spot, but just losing some of her individuals by the time you pay their salary, pay for all the trainers. I think, was it 3 today? It was $93,000?
It costs about $90,000.
For how many? 93, about a $90,000.
Calculate all of
If
the,
you calculate all the training, the salary itself, how many people touch that person within a 60-day period, it's about a $90,000 cost.
not including overtime.
I agree with you. I think retaining employees is extremely important because it costs so much to lose them. A good employee.
Yes, a good employee. So we're just giving this to you to digest, and then, we would love to see some type of resolution come forward if there is support for it. But I do think the timing is good for us this year.
I think most places I've worked for, instead of an accrual, they had a line in the sand. Once you've been here 3 months or 6 months, that's when you're 10 days, you're eligible for your 10 days. I mean, I get it, you don't want to hire somebody and their first week, they say, I'm going to take my 2 weeks vacation.
So front-loaded.
But if you are struggling with the accrual, or someone could work for us for a year and still not have enough time to take a vacation, why not just draw that line in the sand, whether it's 3 months or 6 months, and say, hey, when you've been here that long, you now have your 10 days.
I can see that argument both ways. I support I personally have experienced front loading. It's very attractive. It can be unattractive to a department that has a lot of turnover, or maybe they aren't as comfortable as some managers turning down that approval, because sometimes that can be frustrating to an employee. I've got 10 days, I've got a Disney World trip coming up, I want to use my vacation, why can't I? So I think it's all in how you message it as you roll it out, so that there's clear parameters and understanding. And in any situation, when you roll it out, the more communication you can do, of all those what ifs, then I think it can be successful. But front loading is something I've experienced great success with.
And
Lisa?
honestly, when we talked to the different department heads and we talked about front loading, there were some that were supportive of that and some, as Claire said, so that's why that's kind of where the 2 personal days were born. It's kind of a little bit, it's like a hybrid, a little bit of a hybrid situation. But we're not on the hook for them then if the employee does decide to leave, because those days don't roll over.
Right.
I think this is a good thing, I was born in the workhorse generation where you worked and you never took a vacation, but that's not the way the world works anymore. This younger generation, their family time is extremely important. And like Christy, they're on a very high-stress job. So, this is something, I think it's really good. I know this year the raises are going to be okay, but they're not going to be fantastic. And I think this, and also I saw where you were going to increase the amount of,
That is a typo on the bereavement. That was in our summary for
the longevity
the
pay.
longevity. So please, I appreciate that, Commissioner. Please strike that. We do not have support from the mayor to increase the longevity.
You
Because
have my support.
then I'll let you talk that over with the mayor. But with the constraints for the departments, going after that operational decrease, it might not be the best year to focus it on longevity. But
Okay.
nonetheless, the comparative is there on your spreadsheet from the Excel spreadsheet. And I think that that's something that can be a good holdover for future meetings to consider.
Yeah, I'm a little new at this. What is the longevity? What does the $50 represent?
Took it off of the spreadsheet.
Yeah, it's fine, it's fine.
Right.
It's $50
Yeah.
per year, and it starts at a minimum of 5 years service.
$50 what?
You get $50 after you've been here for 5 years, and then.
For a whole year, you get $50?
And then it increases every year thereafter.
Okay, I was wondering, I thought maybe it was $50 a week or a month. I
No,
wasn't
sir.
sure what that 50 meant, okay.
But for your long-term employees, as you look at their budgets and you see their longevity line item, it does add up quickly. So,
People's been here 30 years.
yes, exactly. So,
Oh, it's a cumulative?
yes, sir.
Oh, okay, so
Yes, sir.
it's, after 5 years, it's $50, after 6 years, it's $100?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Per
Yes, sir.
year. that
Yeah,
they
per year,
work.
yeah, right, okay, all
So
right,
after 10 years, you'd have an extra $500 a year you'd be taking home, right?
Yes, sir.
yeah, okay,
Except for taxes.
Except for taxes.
of course.
Chair, if I could just solidify your point that you just made about recruitment and the workhorse mentality. I think the other thing that we don't want to forget is when we're out in the field, our employees are providing services, so there's not a lot of work from home opportunities, and we're competing with, a lot of organizations that can provide more work from home. Telecommunicators can't do that from home, and so that flexibility, I was remiss in not reminding about that. That's another competitive hurdle that will never go away. So we want to make everything
Yeah.
else as rich as possible.
One of the healthcare companies that I worked for, I had a bright CEO who brought an idea of where, and it was beautiful to see it in motion, gave credit for applicable experience. So if you were hired into an accountant position and you had 5 years of true accounting experience, you went immediately to that accrual. And I'm not proposing that may be something down the road, but I can tell you that I saw nurses come from Vanderbilt and St. Thomas. They started crawling out of the woodwork because they wanted to leave a work environment they weren't happy about, but they didn't want to lose their vacation. So they were willing to stay in a work environment they weren't necessarily happy with to immediately come to a work environment where they would not lose their vacation. So I say that, not pushing it. It's something you can consider. I don't think we're at this point right now. But I say that I got to see how quickly people would move based on vacation. It was a really great experience.
Is there a maximum amount they can accrue? I mean, I'm going to use Missy Lane Anderson that never took a day off in her life. Could she keep accruing, or did they say after 300 hours you don't accrue anymore? Does the county have
There
any
is-
regulations?
Can't roll over.
It only caps out at
whatever years of service. So like at the 15, right, or the 21 plus, you get 24 days each year.
Yep.
It doesn't stop accruing, but there's a certain amount, I believe, goes into retirement.
Yeah.
After a certain amount, you can't have it on the books, they pass it
Oh,
on.
that's what I wondered.
Right.
So
Yes, ma'am.
they put it, I worked at a place after so many, after 300 hours, you lost it.
Yeah.
Of course, I lost all mine.
So it goes to retirement, then? Okay.
At least it goes to
Sick goes to
retirement.
Sick or
That's
retirement,
good.
vacation does
Can I
not.
ask a question?
Yes.
Chair. So Claire, just so I understand, because you and I have had this conversation before, when I look at this, so if an employee, somebody applying for a job has 10 years' experience, and they get hired here, they don't automatically go to the 10 to 14 years for vacation. It's how much time they spend at the county.
Now, with the county, if they come from the school system over,
No, I'm talking, we hire, I don't know, somebody out of state for a
No.
position, they've got 10 years' experience, and they're only gonna have the 0 to 4 range for
Yes.
vacation?
that is correct.
Well, then why, I don't know how we're gonna recruit anybody, because I'm a state employee at 20 years, I get 24 days vacation, and if the county were to hire me, you're telling me I go down to 15 days, well, right now,
Yes.
12 days vacation?
Yes.
I wouldn't do that.
And that's that's why I'm here. You know, once again, I haven't brought this before you because I think it's kind of self-serving for your new HRD to come forth and say, hey, give me some vacation. I walked away from 5 weeks and it was front-loaded.
That's a huge.
Every year my vacation was front-loaded.
State does that as well.
But it was managed. I couldn't immediately, January, February, just take off work, but it created that flexibility throughout the year so that people come the end of the year weren't all rushing at Christmas time to take their vacation because it was going to be capped. It was going to be capped and, use it or lose it. But yes, that is exactly what we're dealing with. I'm sitting right next to an individual that comes to us with a tremendous amount of experience as an assistant city administrator for a suburb of the Chicago area and 20 plus years of HR and government, county and city experience. And there were other competitors that Miss Lisa, we were up against. And so we just tried to put our best dog and pony show on and make it show her that there was a lot of added value work to come on board and be a part of. And I'm just being candid, the work, the love of the work she would be doing and partnering with me in my department, won us out. But a pivotal point in her decision making was the vacation. And, I've, provided, as much flexibility as I can to provide some work-life balance, but it is a challenge.
I think this is really good because we can't continue to give raises like we have in the past. And hopefully, I'm so big in keeping long-term employees. I think it's so important. You lose so much when you lose them. I think this is a good thing. Do we need to do any kind of vote on this or?
No, ma'am, that's not my purpose, is to hopefully entice the appetite for you, maybe for you to pick it up further and there to be a resolution to support. And we'd bring it back next month if there is. And
I would support, as Commissioner Mason pointed out, adding that if you're hiring someone who's at their previous employment accrued a certain number of vacation days, that you're at least able to offer that to them here. So they're not giving that up just to come work for Williamson County.
And there would have to be a mechanism to count that, because, and again, I use my experience as a state attorney. Not every job as an attorney counts. Somehow they have some calculator that they do. So even if you're coming in with 20 years legal experience, you may only be at a 15-year, depending on, so it wouldn't be.
yeah, just
Same.
thinking out loud, because I'm thinking of your incumbents. So we would need to do some type of analysis for you, because once again, I'm speaking candidly, thinking of the operational impact. So you would jump quickly from, you've got this group of people that only have 12 to now they're going to have X. So this would start, this accrual would start with people with no experience with the county. But your thought would capture, we would have to do an analysis of how much that would jump up those accruals, and then I think the department heads would, because that would be a large group of, a larger number to manage. It might be something that we slowly front load this many days and then maybe graduate and take it up. That would be my suggestion. And once again, I always try to listen to operators. That's where I come from as an HR professional, because I've been where HR just thinks it, says it, creates a policy and pushes it out. I like to go back, as I think Director Borden can say, and go back and say, how would this impact you? You've got a large department, or you've got a 24/7 department. How would you, if this was implemented, how would it impact? So do an impact study with our departments, because a department of my small department, I'd feel no effect. A Parks and Rec department, a department that has longevity, that they're already accruing, but some of our newer departments, it might be an impact. So I would like to do that exercise with your permission. And plus, I'd need to go back to the mayor and see if I have support from Director Riley and Mayor Anderson.
My concern about that, which would be the study, is what about all these people that's already here, that's still in the 0 to 4 years?
Well, that's what she's talking about, capturing.
Yeah.
that.
And
I'd have to capture and see how that would jump
That
up.
could
And
be
then,
a
and so
lot.
you'd say a manager right now, this department is managing this many vacation days that could be requested. Now a director would have to be managing twice as many, or, you see what I'm saying? They would have to be able to manage, how can I support? Because they're gonna have to be
if all of a
turning
sudden they zip from,
a boost. Yes.
So I see a discrepancy here possible on the holidays. You got, on this sheet here, you have current 14, proposed 15, on the front you have 15 and 15. Am I misunderstanding something?
No, sorry, we apologize. It's another slight typo on the spreadsheet. It is 15, sir.
Okay.
Because we added Juneteenth.
this doesn't affect the school system at all, what you're doing. They do their own.
And they do their own, excuse me, and you can see WCS is Warren County School System. So they have 27 holidays, including school breaks. They have 2 personal days.
Oh, this is where the school system's proposing changing theirs also, correct? I see.
No, this is, WCG is Warren County Government
Oh,
proposed.
Warren County, I thought it was Williamson County.
It is Williamson.
Yeah, excuse me, sorry, Williamson, excuse me. And Williamson County School System is to the right,
Oh, I see what you're saying, that's.
40 and
okay.
slip.
Claire, I would like to see a study done on capturing those, because I know what's gonna happen if we implement the strategy that if you get hired July 1st, you get years of credit to count towards your vacation. So if you do that, then every employee is gonna be like, wait a minute, like, I came in and I lost all my vacation.
Yeah.
And so I would like to see kind of what that looks like and a plan of how to implement that, because it's hard to implement it going forward, and then we tell the people who are loyal and work for us, too bad. And I don't want to
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah, I think once you give some thought to it, and as we like to say, do the what ifs, because that's what we like to do, is beat a policy or do all the what ifs, because those different scenarios can play out.
Unfortunately, I have to leave. We're not voting on this, right? But thank you for the
So do we
presentation.
need to talk
You have my full support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll see you.
to the mayor's staff about a resolution for this? Is that what you would?
Well, I think what I hear is you might want me to do a study, and
But that's a different subject.
that could be separate and apart. But this right
Just
here,
this.
you could move forward with this, minus
Okay.
the longevity. That was on this, that was the summary
Right.
that Lisa put together for the mayor.
Okay.
Commissioner, if any commissioner wishes to put forth a resolution approving this, our office is happy to draft that.
Okay.
Claire, I got a question. What does it matter if you're trying to get mayor support? Who cares? He's leaving, so.
I work at the pleasure of the mayor, so always,
Gotcha.
I'm speaking tonight with his full support of what's in front of you. But
Gotcha.
I would have to check on if he agrees with that.
Well, I guess if we put forth a resolution, it doesn't really matter what he thinks, but.
Does the committee want to do a resolution? or y'all
Well,
want
I'm in full support of it. I want to
this?
see, I think I'm with Commissioner Mason, that I want to see what this impact looks like.
But I'd like to see this going
Yes.
forward.
What's been proposed here tonight, I would love to see as a resolution. And then separately, I'd like to see an impact study on changing how we count years of credit for vacation for new hires, and how that's gonna affect people who've been here.
And I've seen it work one-to-one because it has to be applicable experience.
Applicable, so that's the word I
And
was
the
searching
tough thing
for.
is, it's easy when it's like a nurse to nurse or an
Right.
accountant to an accountant. And that's where it's kind of a little bit hard for the assessors, if you will, because you don't want to give, if you're a customer service, did you have that title so you can put some things in there versus I did a little bit of this, I did a little bit of that. It's got to be really, really tight where you can really speak to the one-to-one. Just like when I spoke to you all about the sheriff giving credit, it was a one-to-one. You were an officer, and he did that exercise to clean up some of the. They gave credit for experience, and they didn't based on your starting pay rate. So, and then I've seen it be capped at 5 years. Like we're going to give you 5 years. And that's it. We're not going to give you anything more. If you've got 5 years in accounting, you immediately go to that mark and you start from there and keep going up. And that can be a little bit simpler than giving all years of credit. But at least you go to 3 weeks.
Right. Yeah, I would just like to kind of see an idea of what that looks like and maybe a couple different ideas, your expertise on how we would implement it.
I've got a great addition to my staff, so we will do the research and come back.
How would you even do that study?
Well, we would go and pull all of the data based on time with the county.
No, I mean determine what the effect, we want to know what the effect is in terms of hiring people. Mm-hmm. So we would have to know the people who decide not to work here because they didn't get the vacation improvement.
I wasn't speaking to that, Commissioner Petty. I was speaking to the impact to operations if they had all of these extra vacation days sitting in our current employees' bank, how they would be able to manage those extra vacation requests. So we can capture that. We've got 100 people now, if you will, that were accruing 10 days a year, and now they're going to be at 15 or X amount a year. So that's what we were going to talk to them.
All right, I'm just curious how you're going to figure that out. All right.
And when would you want this effective, July 1st?
Yes, ma'am.
Is that the perfect
That's
day?
what I was thinking.
Do you need a second for us to do the resolution, to ask that a resolution be drafted?
No,
Okay.
you don't need to vote or anything. I'll draft
Okay.
the resolution and then.
Thank you.
Logistical question. Do you want it to go in May or March? Because if it goes in May, we can bring it back in front of the committee to vote on. If it goes in March, you'd have to meet again before.
Let's say May.
May's fine.
May's fine.
May.
Yeah, who's gonna be listed as the sponsors?
I can list HR committee.
Or do you need each of us individually who want to sign on to it, or just HR committee?
I can list requested by HR committee,
Okay.
and then whichever commissioner is able to come in and sign it can. If all of you want to
Okay.
sign it, that's fine.
Okay.
I think it would go a stronger stance if we all signed it, you know.
I think so too.
I'll put links for everybody to sign.
Okay.
I can't have a laugh every time I say
Well, I just want to sincerely say thank you for your time. Thank you for your consideration on behalf of our current employees and also for our hiring directors for what they go through trying to be as attractive as we can. And I do think that it does have some generational aspects, but it also rewards our dedicated employees that may not be in that generation. They've worked hard, they've earned it, and it's a win-win all the way around.
Well, I appreciate all your hard work. Again, I know we've had these conversations, especially as a government employee myself. I know we don't always make top dollar, but if there are other non-monetary ways to make the position attractive to people who are really good at their job, then I love that you're thinking outside the box creatively. It doesn't always come down to salary. Sometimes it comes down to quality of life.
And we will come back to you with the buyout. Need to firm up another meeting with the mayor and Phoebe, and that has been very attractive, and I think that's another win-win. Very cost effective.
I would have killed for this where I used to work.
It's better to pay those dollars out now than pay them out 10 years from now, so there's a financial pickup to having a buyout.
And it would probably kind of all equal out in the long run. It's going to.
Possibly.
It may pay for itself after the
Right, after a while.
Yeah. We do have a lot of tenured employees, for sure.
All right, we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Sarah, for
right.
taking care of.
Yay.
Because I toured the 911 center, and there's no way I could do that 10 hours a day. I mean, I would think that's like the sheriff's department, one of those jobs that's very draining.
It is, and they need their time off, so.
Chair, I'm going to put adjourning at 6:10. Is that okay with everybody?
Any other issues? Somebody has to be adjourned. Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Second. Motion and second.
Thank you.